Good morning everyone, and welcome to Kirkcaldy High School's annual Holocaust Memorial Assembly 2022. Every year we commemorate Holocaust Memorial Day on the 27th of January, as this date marks the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp back in 1945. 2022 marks 77 years since that event. This year, the theme of Holocaust Memorial Day is One Day, and that will also be the theme of our assembly this morning. We'll talk more about what one day means in a minute, but first, for those of you who don't know what the Holocaust is, or if you just simply need a reminder, here's a quick refresher about the Holocaust.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to a very special Holocaust Assembly. As I'm sure everyone will be aware, the Holocaust was an attempt at genocide or mass murder of all the Jewish population across Nazi-occupied Europe. This lasted between 1933 and 1945, when the Nazis were defeated in World War II and around 40,000 camps were liberated by Allied forces. These camps were used for two main reasons: forced labour and extermination. During the Holocaust, the Nazis killed 6 million Jews, just under 2/3 of the Jewish population in Europe, which in 1939 stood at 9.5 million, making up to 57% of all Jews globally. 1 million of these Jews were killed at Auschwitz-Birkenau, making it the most active death camp run by the Nazis.
In 1995, the Bosnian Serbs attempted ethnic cleansing to gain greater political power following Bosnia's independence from Yugoslavia in 1992. Currently ongoing is the genocide of Black Africans in Sudan by the Arab Sudanese government, which began in 2003. As you can see, all of these genocides are caused by an unnecessary hatred towards a minority group of people, just like the Holocaust. Therefore, the question asked by a lot of people is, how are these genocides like the Holocaust allowed to happen? And well, nobody really has the answer.
The theme this year for Holocaust Memorial Day is One Day in the Future. It shows the significance of those who were targeted and persecuted for when they held out for the one day in the future when their suffering would all be over, the day they would see liberation. On Holocaust Memorial Day, we learn from genocide for a purpose: to build a better future. As we look ahead to one day in the future with no genocide, what would we need to do today to achieve this? We use the theme to speak out when we see injustice, prejudice, and identity-based violence. On Holocaust Memorial Day 2022, we all come together within our community to learn from the Holocaust and genocide for a better future.
What is liberation? Before we can understand the significance of this one day in history, we have to understand what is meant by the term liberation. It can be defined as the action of setting somebody free from imprisonment, slavery, or oppression. As the Allied and Soviet troops moved across Europe against Nazi Germany, they encountered these concentration camps. As they entered into the camps to liberate them, they also encountered mass graves and lots of other sites of Nazi crimes that had taken place. Although liberation of Nazi camps was not the primary objective of the Allied military campaign, US, British, Canadian and Soviet troops freed prisoners from the SS guards. They also helped provide aid to survivors, and they further collected evidence. This would then be used to bring the Nazis to justice later on in history. If you have a look at this picture was taken at Auschwitz. This is the camp being liberated. It was not fully till later on in history that it was actually understood exactly what happened and what went on here. Let's just say, when the Allied forces liberated these camps, they did not expect what was to come. As the Allied troops moved across Europe, and as they liberated the different concentration camps, they began to encounter tens of thousands of prisoners suffering from starvation, disease, and death. On all of the different concentration camps that were liberated, the soldiers did not expect what they were about to encounter. It was only after the liberation of the camps that the scope of the Nazi brutality was exposed to the entire world. You are about to watch a clip from Band of Brothers. It is based on a concentration camp being liberated by Allied forces. A warning to you all that this is based on true events, therefore what you are about to watch is exactly what would have happened when these camps were liberated. Therefore, it is quite a difficult watch. The purpose of me showing you this video is that you can try to even half understand what these people would have experienced throughout the Holocaust and on that day of liberation, because this year's theme, as previously noted, is all about that one day, and in this circumstance it's that one day that these prisoners were liberated.
Stand back. Give us some room here. Stand back. Back. Back.
Christensen, any of your men speak German?
No, sir.
I need leave guard. Leave guard! Lipton, find me leave guard.
Yes, sir.
Leave guard! Leave guard! Leave guard! Major needs you up front right now.
Sure.
All right, boys. These people need care. Give them water and any spare rations you might have. Grab me some blankets, quick.
Oh, my God. Dick?
Ljudi, pomozite. Molim vas, pomozite. Još je živ. Još ga možete spasiti. Molim vas, ljudi, molim vas.
Sorry. Here, take some water.
Voda, dve vode.
Jesus, Webb, can you believe this place? No.
That's okay. There, boy. Yeah? Okay.
Die Wachen haben das Lager heute Morgen verlassen.
You said the guards left this morning, sir.
Konnten sie aber einige von diesen
Langsam bitte, langsam.
Zuvor verbrannten sie noch einige der Baracken.
They burned some of the huts first.
Mit den Gefangenen immer noch drinnen, lebend.
Well, the prisoner's still in them, sir. Alive.
Jesus Christ. Aber einige von den Gefangenen haben sie versucht, daran zu
Some
hindern.
of the prisoners that tried to stop.
Sie wurden getötet. Sie wurden ganz
Some of them were killed.
Getötet. Und die Wachen hatten nicht genügend.
They didn't have enough ammo for all the prisoners, so
Sie töteten so viele sie konnten.
they killed as many as they could
Und dann verließen sie einfach das Lager.
before they left the camp.
Sie schlossen das Tor hinter sich und gingen
Locked the
Richtung
gates
Süden.
behind them and headed south.
They came with great big tankers of water. That's what we needed more than anything, was good water. Food. Luckily, I think it was more luck than sense. They gave us the right sort of food. My very first food was tinned creams macaroni. You know, the ones in the tins. And that was heaven. And every day on Liberation Day, I feed my family this tinned macaroni. And the poor things have got to eat it. But, you know, a friend of ours, we used to be with us when we were marching. We used to share everything. And then she got this food, this packet of sugar, and she just sat and ate this whole packet of sugar and other things that the soldier gave her. And she died. The British got these carts with Germans inside of them. They had to go and pick up the bodies and then sit on top of the bodies, go a little further, get off, pick up some more bodies, get on top of these bodies, you know. And that's a wonderful, wonderful sight to see, these Germans that I knew were so horrible and so sadistic, having to sit on top of these bodies and pick them up. I wasn't feeling very vindictive. I could have taken stones and thrown. Some people did. I never threw a stone at them or anything. I didn't want to lower myself to that.
You may be surprised to know that since the end of the Holocaust in 1945, there have been several other genocides taking place around the world. Cambodia, 1975 to 1979, Rwanda, 1994, Bosnia, 1995, Sudan, 2003 to the present day, and Xinjiang, China, 2014 to the present day. As Winston Churchill once said, those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it. This is why it is important that we continue to hold assemblies like this and remember the events of the Holocaust and all genocides subsequently, so that we learn from the past and use that knowledge to build a better future. It is by doing so that we can one day look ahead to one day in the future, one day without violence, one day without hatred, and one day without genocide.
People are still discriminated today for many different reasons, including gender, race, religion and sexuality. Although in the UK we are not at risk of genocide, discrimination still exists in our society today, both in real life and online. We can see that this is a problem in the UK as police forces continue to see a rise in the number of hate crime reported each year. Yet, as mentioned before, this type of discrimination is a cause of genocide, and just because it hasn't turned into that here does not mean it is like this everywhere.
Okay, so how can we end discrimination? Well, I think that a key way that here at Kirkcaldy High School we could reduce discrimination is through learning about the issues involved. So, for example, as we've been learning about the Holocaust, as we learn more about things like anti-Semitism, racism, bigotry and prejudice, that greater awareness helps both educate young people and give them an ability to identify when there is persecution going on in society, so that can be highlighted and that problem then dealt with.
Thank you for watching our assembly this morning. We hope you've learned something about the Holocaust and liberation, and most importantly, about how one day can change the course of history. The music department will now play us out.
First They Came by Martin Niemöller. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out,
because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me.